I'm Valarie Allman. I am from the United States and the Olympic champion in the discus, and I'm excited to show you how to throw.
The discus throw is one of track and field's most iconic events. Valarie Allman is not only the Olympic champion, she's also the reigning Diamond League champion. Allman and her coach Zebulon Sion took some time to break down their favorite event. Let's start with the basics.
So a discus is, for the women, it weighs 1 kilogram, and for the men, it's 2 kilograms. And when you hold it, you're gonna put your palm right in the middle and let your fingertips go over the edge. And when you throw it, instead of throwing it like a Frisbee, you actually want it to come off your index finger, like that.
Getting a proper release and rotation on the implement is critical if an athlete wants to achieve the longest distance possible. It's a small detail that might require hours of practice to perfect. And that can be said for about nearly every aspect of the throw, even the setup.
So the first thing I do when I go to take a throw is step inside the ring and kind of compose myself. And then I'll walk to the back and get into a good athletic position. And then this is where the throw really begins.
It may seem odd that the athlete is facing away from their intended target at the start of the throw. But in the next few steps, the athlete will begin to generate a lot of force by spinning around.
So we call this the windup, which is where you bring the discus back to here. And then the first thing I think about is kind of coming over this left foot and loading to then where I'm gonna hit the middle with as much tension as I can. It's kind of like a rubber band. This is like my stretch point. So it's like a big stretch, and then it's about unleashing that out into the field. Because it happens so quickly, you can normally only think about 1, maybe 2 things. And for me, I try to think about being balanced, but also really powerful. So trying to collect my energy in the middle and then letting it all go out into the discus in the front.
The whole motion happens in just a few seconds. And yet it is such a technical event that it's worth taking a closer look with Allman's coach. As Allman showed us, after the windup, an athlete loads their weight and force onto their left leg.
So the left leg is our sprint leg, so she's gonna drive forward with that left leg. The right leg is a rotational component, so it's swinging wide before it cuts back to the middle. So the reason we do this, if you think about a figure skater, like when you watch a figure skater and they bring all of their limbs together, they accelerate significantly, right? So we're trying to really accelerate. Perfect, yeah.
Having collected their energy in the middle of the circle, the thrower must transfer that force into the implement in the final stage of the throw.
Then this is what we call like the finish of the throw. And it's really here where you think about bringing that discus all the way around with a big chest, and it comes off that index finger right here. And that's kind of that moment where the discus gets into the air and you really get to see how it's gonna fly.
Most athletes have a similar technique to the one Allman has shown us. But there are other popular methods out there, and Coach Sion has to be familiar with all of them.
There's a fixed feet style or a non-reverse, and there's also a reverse style. So Valarie does a reverse, so that's where her feet actually switch and she does a really dynamic dance-esque twirl at the front of the throw. But the fixed feet style is more like Sandra Perkovic and many others who've really stopped their feet and stopped their energy as they smash and rip the finish. So we have a different style and it really plays into Valarie's strengths.
Finally, the 2-time Diamond League champion has one last tip for aspiring throwers out there.
As you start to get more invested in the sport, it's really helpful to get a pair of throwing shoes. And what's important about them is the bottom is really smooth. So in discus, you're spinning, right? And you want to be able to move with not very much friction. So having a bottom that can turn really easily is really important. So this is what I wear, and it makes it so you can get the most out of your technique.